Hello and welcome. It's me, Mr. Reed. This is Creative Shock, and today I have Justin or Tien with me from the crew of Creative Shock. Justin, I want to talk about OCE Nats. I want to talk about the meta. I want to talk about you. What's going on with your world and what happened at Nats?
All right, so hey guys, I've just been introduced. My name's Tien, and yeah, we just got back from OC and Nats. Had a pretty intense couple of days overall,
Yep.
but it was actually a lot of fun. Us and the Creative Shop guys decided to go. We had three of our members made day two. Not me, unfortunately, because yeah, I'm glad my teammates are good because I'm definitely not good at this game. But yeah,
Good.
and one of us made it through all the way to Gauntlet. So
Yeah.
that was fun. Yeah, it was also good just meeting everyone, seeing all the guys, the New Zealanders. Some of the American players flew down as well, and a lot of players from Southeast Asia as well. So yeah, lots of fun. Good to see everyone again as well.
Yeah, it was a pretty great day. Like, I think maybe from people at home looking to go to nationals, like you have to have entry cards. Like, let's talk about quality of players. Like, I know there are the sense of cards and you have so many and people that when you go to normal regionals you can have all sorts of players. Did you feel that in Oceanic Nats? You feel like the quality of play was higher?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I definitely felt that. So yeah, everyone who played had an invite card. So even though it was only a 124 player event, I believe,
yeah.
just the average player strength was extremely high. Like with other events, usually just from the get go with round one, you have like a couple of rounds where you might run into relatively newer players and like it's a bit more of a breeze early on.
Hmm.
But for this one, literally from the get go, I paid into one of the guys who's played for like over a year, I think, from Sydney. His name's Kushida, and yeah, he was good. He's extremely good at the game, and even moving forward, round two I played Yamakin, who's top 8 in Descent before. It's like I just had no time for a break. Really, although the average player skill was extremely high.
Yeah, just straight into it, I guess. Do you think like we can talk to here, like I'm going to use stats while we're talking through it. I think Fractal some great stuff here. Like, we had like 65 entrants from New Zealand, 36 from Australia, and then from there it's like Singapore, 8, United States. Did you feel like didn't matter what nationality you played? Did you notice anything from like if you versed Americans to the versing the New Zealand players, or was it just like kind of just that everybody was kind of that high rank of skill, pretty even across the board?
Yeah, definitely. Well, definitely like a lot of players they were extremely skilled, but I think with like the countries where they have relatively small representation, for example, the Americans or
Hmm.
Singaporeans, how they have 8, 7, and even the other ones,
Yeah.
their players, the only ones traveling that far across the world are like the absolute best players.
Yeah.
We had like Team True Gaming, with their players came and won the whole event,
Yeah.
and he is one of the most consistent performers across the whole world.
Hmm.
Apex Guild players from Singapore came down, and also Taiwan. I know Boy was there. He's last year's world competitor, and he made it again this year. So yeah, definitely, it was extremely difficult as an event to play because just all these extremely good players were coming through. But also like we had the best players from Australia and New Zealand there as well.
Do you think like so? Let's talk about on the day. Like you're saying, that it was difficult. Like it was a hard day. Everyone's at that extra level. But for you, did you like? Well, let's start from prep. Like, did you feel like you prepped enough for this event? If you were somebody watching this, like watching our content, like would you say what would you do next time if to prepare for Nats? Like, is it just show the level of commitment to put in the game before you go to like competing in Nats compared to a store champs or regionals?
Yeah, definitely in terms of like preparation. For this one, I put in more time than normal. I really like broke down, focused on each different matchup. In hindsight, picking the deck I picked, which was Lux and Xander, it had some good matchups and some bad matchups. But
Hmm.
the one thing I wasn't prepared for was the Wind Stereo Gorgas. There ended up being like a lot of them in the room. I think the entire population of Sydney was playing it pretty much.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I missed preparation on that deck. Otherwise, I could have teched certain cards to deal with it. But it's an interesting one where each incoming nationals, players are adapting. They're changing what they play. So like I think in the Southeast Asian nationals and EU nationals, the Winter Gorja wasn't really a prominent deck. But over in our nationals, there was something like 12% of them, I believe, played it.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot. And then with the changes for Clarent, we had a lot of fire aggro as well. Let the fire aggro
Wild,
the rain a bit up.
absolutely wild. We'll get to the fire aggro
Yeah,
later. I guess.
yeah, we'll dive into that too.
So I guess why did you go with Fire Xander? Like, I always see you as the ally king, and every time you stray from that path, it's like Justin, get back to what But like, why did you swap to Xander? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, honestly, it's a very good question. I have been playing Serene Luxem Xander for quite a bit, even before it won Southeast Asian Nationals. I do know that one, but
Yeah,
I
it
was
did. Yeah.
playing it even before that, more of just a for fun thing because I enjoy playing it. It's a bit of a breath of fresh air.
Yep.
Whether from allies, which I played for like a year straight, and honestly,
Mhm.
like, what's the point of playing this game if I'm not playing for fun, right? So I played it for fun, and
Just,
then
just
yeah,
when OCE Nationals, why not play for fun? Mate, go to your
yeah. I
local
mean,
store,
look,
mate.
man, like, yeah, look, you're gonna have fun because what's the point of this game if you're not having fun, right? So
Oh
yeah,
my
I literally
god.
played the deck for fun, and
Okay,
yeah, look,
great.
I mean, I came close to day two, but not close enough. Didn't make it, but I did it for fun, and like when I saw that Bob won SEA Nats with it, I was like, all right, guess this is my plan now. This is my life. I'm a
Hell yeah.
Luxem player now.
Did you
Yeah,
use like
and I
Bob's
got to use the
similar
shiny new
deck?
six.
Did you use Bob's deck,
Uh,
or did you change it a bit?
yeah, I changed it a little bit, but most of the cards are the same.
And you have a few
Yeah,
SIGs.
and
All
the other
right,
thing
blinging
is,
it out. Okay,
oh
all
yeah,
right.
the new light weaver six straight into the deck. Like it is what it is. They're
God, it
giving us
felt good.
everything we get. Yeah, it did feel good actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
revealing those shiny six is amazing.
I actually watched that. They did the video, or like the GA must have just did the final video for SEA, and I definitely watched it. And when he did like the reveal into the Thieving Cup reveal, and I was like,
Oh
damn,
yeah,
I was like, that's like peak. I was like, that is actually probably one of the moments when you're just like, God, I love this deck, and if it pops off, it pops off.
yeah. I think so. Like Bob is just built different. Like that was one of the most hype finals I think I've ever watched in all of GA, all the competitive events.
So let's.
Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet.
So what did you feel before we go into the meta composition? Just like on the day, you think that the wind and the Seirus definitely came left of field. Like I know when we did the tier list, I hadn't seen much of it, so I couldn't comment on it, but it definitely showed on the day. With any other decks that kind of threw you out, or was that just the one? Everything else was pretty much what you expected.
Yeah, I think that one was the only like really left field one that I found.
Yeah.
Like yeah, the other things like Fire Aggro Lorraine, I think a lot of people saw coming, and that's potentially why it didn't do as well as it could have. But we'll get into that later. Yeah, but apart from that, everything else was pretty standard. No other real left field decks.
Yeah, I mean, from a caster perspective, like day one, it's so hard. Like, I'm preparing, like, it's so much easier day two, right? So, day two, I get up,
Yeah.
I look at all the 25 decks, I read every deck, I work out, okay, this deck here is like, I've don't know this card, I clarify this card. Day one, it's like 126 people. Some people playing some variation of a card that I've not seen. Like, I'm trying to, like, on the fly. But it was pretty consistent. Like, I felt like we had a lot of just like Fire Aggro, Water Fractal, your Seiru deck, a bit of Gembu, and then there you'd have some Tristans and some Astra decks, but again, just Fire Aggro dominated this. There were so many Fire Aggros, I think is absolutely wild because I feel like it's such an RNG deck, right? And I felt like
Yeah.
more people should be playing Fractal. I really don't understand. Like, I just, if anyone watching this right now, I'd love to hear it, but I feel like there's just hate to play the meta in Oceanic, and I don't know why. It's like, it's like you're a scum if you play this. You know what I mean? So they won't play and do whatever they can to not play it, but it just does so well. And like Caben showing like just the pinnacle of it being played, but it just does insane things.
Honestly, I still believe Fractal's the best deck, and
Yeah.
Caven's shown everyone that it's still the best deck. But yeah, that is a weird thing about OCE, where if there's a deck that like the general populace hates, OCE will never play it.
Yeah.
And Fractal is definitely one of those. Like OCE hates playing the meta. They love innovating their own way of playing the game,
Yeah,
and it shows with like the Fire Aggro, the Wind allies still being so popular, and especially the Seiryu. It's yeah, we just play the game the way we want to play, and it generally leans towards more aggressive strategies. But yeah, we refuse to play Fractals. I don't know what it is. It's just we don't like playing Fractals. We
no,
feel
man.
disgusting. It's like yeah, it's like we don't want that dirt on our hands. We'll
And
win
then
the game at our own way.
I was saying like, and then even when I did the band stuff came out, like nothing's even been touched. I was like, are you serious? Like watching Kevin play that game, I was just like, Shimmering Refraction, like it has so much aggro. It's like pre-rec, I've got 6 fractals, so I'll do 7 damage with refracting missile. Then I'm going to main phase, everything wakes up. I'll Shimmering Refraction for 8. then I'll draw. Like, what the, what is happening right now? And then it's like, oh, you're gonna put your kill move. I'm gonna tap 3 of my 7 fractals, and you have to pay 12 to to stop the cast. It's like, what? Like, surely that just. I think the problem is it can be so aggressive and so defensive so easily, and they need to pick something to slow it down, because I just think it's going to be wild for the next 2 worlds. Like, if I don't see how this deck, and I mean, Bob didn't win SEA, but I think you have to high roll. I think it's way more consistent. Like, if everybody was playing an SEA Water Fractal and everybody was playing, I think he'd have a harder time to make it top cut than if, but maybe because we have a lot more win players trying to cook it, you get through with these other decks and you get to high roll through. That's from my OCE caster. I don't know how you can comment to that from a player perspective there, Tien.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Fractals is a deck that it just does ridiculous amounts of damage. And I think its best strengths are the fact that you can play like 4 or 5 cards in a turn because you have your Diao-Chan and your Scepter of Fascination. And on top of that, the most annoying part of playing into it is their Burst of Thunder. When they play it, it either represents like 20 damage or more, or they can choose to not banish any fractals on resolution and just do 2 damage.
That's
it's
wild, man.
It's disgusting. I think it's not just me, it's not just us. Like, a lot of people around the world have complained about this. Like, sure, the decks and the stats might be balanced, or they might look balanced because everyone's like learned to play into it, but I do feel like it's a miserable experience playing into, and that's hopefully an issue that Weaves will address.
Imagine if Rending Flames was like, I choose to banish, and then you're like, I just negate. Well, I won't banish those fire cards. I'll wait till next turn. You know what I mean? You'd be like, no, like, get rid. That's what it is. It's like, I'm not gonna ruin my fractals, then I'll just wait. Like, what?
Yeah,
wild.
Like, the most extreme example I can think of, and it's not even that extreme when you look what Fractals does, but imagine erupting if you didn't have to banish your entire graveyard to do the damage. That's what Fractals is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, erupting banned, so I don't know, guys. It might mean something.
Exactly.
Like,
what?
erupting is banned, and you have to banish your whole graveyard to do it.
Correct, but why is it Fractals not?
Break all your Fractals.
Yeah, and it's so strong.
Yeah.
Look, let's shift then to like the day talk. So let's look at the stats of Nats. Like, I think it's so wild. Again, that 56% of players played Wind. Like, I do not understand. It's like when I play Wind, I feel like I'm more. And you're a Wind Allies player who's not playing it, by the way. You hurt me inside. Yep. But I feel like it's like I'm trying to cook something. I just want to have the satisfaction of stifling trap someone. Or I'm trying to cook some random ally deck that's kind of consistent. But I feel like it's because I don't want to play Water Fractal. Like, I just feel like I don't think I'm playing a Wind deck to beat Water Fractal. But yet 56 play now. That breaks down to like Wind Allies, like 17 decks Wind Allies. I think that's super hard. A very hard thing to win. I don't think they're in a strong spot. I know we had a Robot Allies did quite well, and some kind of teetered in, but I don't see them winning. I think the other decks just perform better. I think there's too much like counter to them. I mean, Sayru did really well, and I think that also comes down to people don't know what the shit that deck does, right? Like, they don't know how the dragon does. It definitely threw off the casters and that, some of the judges. The wording is pretty terrible. Like, I feel like I know the player base, but I feel like you could say some stuff like, yeah, that's how this works. There would be a lot of judge calls. Like, that whole dragon is a very difficult class to play. Astra, I think, is super weird because it did actually pretty well. It made day. Like, I think it made top car, right? We had like one.
Yeah, it came second.
Yeah, like I'd be more inclined to play Astra, but again, Astra, like these decks, when you watched it, when I watched like Pro Am vs something like the Aggro deck thing, if you drew badly, like, you're so cucked. Like, you are so in trouble if you like draw like too much. I know you have to glimpse, right, to get that chance to draw, but you can still glimpse. I saw him like pick up, gets no floating or nothing to survive, puts down, puts up. That's like the whole game done. You know what I mean? Where when Fractals, it's like I pick up, I got a glimpse, 8 different things. Let's have a look how many Fractals I've got, right? Like, I think the consistency, but again, it performed well, and I find that surprising. And of course, Shadow Strike Tristan, I mean, I think it's in a good spot and probably perform better because so much fire aggro. But I just think, again, that's for defending physical damage, and there's this fractal, spell casting, Diao Chan there just knocking it down. So interesting to see about the wind. I don't know how you want to talk about how you feel why people are
Yeah,
picking wind.
I think Wind has good tools. So the main one is Scatter Essence, which breaks a fractal and
Yeah,
gives you floating memory. On top of that, Veiling Breeze is quite a strong. Like it deals with Burst Asunder, but
yeah,
you're still just trading one for one. If we go to the day two stats, we can see like so
yeah,
this one is all the stats of everyone playing the decks. But if we go day two, the ones that made it through, of the Wind allies, only 2 of them made it of the 17 players who played Wind
yeah,
allies. So definitely, yeah, traditional allies is in a very rough spot. That's part of the reason also why I didn't play it, apart from playing lots for fun. But like, yeah, there's
yeah.
2 ally players out of the what number are
17
we looking at here? 20
to
was it
15.
24 players, 25 who made it through the day two.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
In total players,
yeah,
yeah.
allies is in a rough spot, and Fractals and Seryu and also Genbu were the most represented decks. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. It's nice to see though that the new HPN champions really make a splash in the meta
Yeah, for
because
sure.
that's what is that 13 decks. The top 13 decks most represented were the new champ Squadja and Diao-chan. So that's at least a nice thing to see. The meta is different from the previous sets.
Okay, you're saying the meta's different, but Gembu, and everyone asks what a Gembu deck is, they say it's Watermill Arasana with a turtle.
That's true. Yeah, it's basically what Nico used to be, but now it's better. Can't argue with that one. That's
Yeah.
very true.
And there's that tabular item supposedly just makes it so you just mill yourself out and then you win the game, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
more aggressive. Yeah, yeah. Like what?
Yeah. Fill your entire deck and then search 5 cards, put them back in, and your next 5 draws are perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like okay.
It's a great strategy that was devised.
But yeah, I think the Gembu deck is. Like, I was surprised. I would try more people played the Gembu compared to other. And I guess maybe it's the availability because like only 11 people played Gembu and 4 made it 3. Like that's pretty good. Seiru was played by 15 and 4 made it through. Fractals had 18, 5 minutes through. Like Fire Aggro, and I mean they did have 4 make it through because they had the Suzaku deck. But I just think, what do you think's the difficulty for Fire Aggro decks? Do you think they're just pairing into each other and that's what they struggle with, or it's against the other decks they have more trouble with?
Yeah, so with that stat, I think it has to do with the average player skill of the whole tournament. Fire Aggro is a deck that's very linear.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very, oh, not linear. It's a deck that can be dealt with, but it heavily relies on the skill of the player. And I think most people in the event were ready for it, especially because everyone predicted that Fire Aggro Lorraine would be extremely popular with Clarent coming out.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely it's a deck that everyone was ready for. And I think that's why while there was a large representation, not many of them actually made it to day two.
yeah. I just think it's a, like you said, I think it's that if you ask to put a Fire Aggro, it's a lot about catching people out. And if you're playing with people at that higher skill cap, they know the deck, they know those win comms. It's very linear win comms. That's what I think we're trying to say, right? Like I mean, either I'm gonna do this pre-rack. You're either gonna throw this down. You're then gonna do blazing throw. You're gonna look for I think also too, when I was casting, you're looking for that exact kill point. You're not over damaging, right? You're looking for that exact point. And so usually players are holding to just fast QR just at the right time, or shimmering. What do you call it? Bloody the refusal, glimmering refusal, or
Glimmering Refusal.
yeah, you're picking for that moment in time where you're just gonna, veiling if they haven't brought the mirror out. Like you have to not be as aggressive. I feel like if you're too just like I'm trying to kill you term 2, you probably have a harder time than if you put it out, unless you high roll, right? Unless there's nothing the other team can do. But if they can, they know you're looking for that win as soon as possible. They try and play around it.
Yeah, definitely people are like more selective with when they react and what they react with. And yeah, just in general, players are very good at surviving that strategy, which is somewhat predictable as well. Fire Aggro is quite predictable, so it can
Yeah.
be managed, it can be dealt with. Yeah, I like to think of it as more of a like a noob stomper kind of deck, where you can completely just like run over relatively new players. But when you
Yep.
play an event like this, where just the average skill level was insanely high, I reckon yeah, it's a lot harder to win on Fire Aggro.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's have a look at champions. Like crazy that Guaja is like so representative. I know it's because of Gembu and Seiru and a bit of Fire. Like that's crazy to see. She's so far up there. Uh, Lorraine, we like you said, there's so much Lorraine because of Clarent, Diao Chan in the water. I mean, Xander's in a cool spot. I think there's some interesting stuff that he has, like capabilities of Luxem and Aggro. Slice and Dice is a big part of that. Just that one card makes like Xander rise to the occasion with his aggression. Arasana, of course, Wind, Tristan Wind, and then you just drop off from there and you say, well, I can't believe someone actually played Sylvie. Like, I'd love to know what they play. Water Sylvie, like they're trying to bring it back here. But what do you think right now with like how champions have played and Nats and maybe like what, like where's Diana, guys? You know, where's Mordred?
Yeah,
like, what's going on?
I do think it's like I think it's so funny that Sylvie is one deck out of the entire meta when, you know, like I was it 2-3 months ago, everyone was complaining that Slime's Sylvie was just the most broken thing in the game. Everyone wanted it gone, and hey guys, we succeeded.
Yeah,
Sylvie
we
is dead.
killed it, man. We killed it. Exactly.
She gave up being a champion in the game and became a figurine instead. Like, get out of here, bro. Career change.
But I just don't understand. Like, if you, I would be more inclined to versus Sylvie deck than I am from a Dao Chan deck. Like, at least it felt like, you know, they're trying to dig for this arcane slime later or whatever. You know, I feel like this. I don't know what the like. Why people don't hate on this like Fractal more? I just that's what I'm looking at in. Like, I just feel like this deck is just wild, right? Like, you're just having all these extra cards on the board. You're just spinning and they wake up and there's like what? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I had so much more fun playing this game in the previous formats. Like, even Storm's Sylvie meta, because, you know, like Sylvie meta felt like both players were just trying to accelerate to their game plan. It wasn't this like whole, you know, negate your entire like your card and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Refusal. Yeah, at least Sylvie, like, you die fast, you get out. It's not miserable, at least in my opinion. Some other people would disagree, but I think Fractals is a million times worse than what we had in the past with Sylvie.
Yeah, and I know I've talked to a few people. I know you play around this. Like, it's so. I feel like it's disheartening. I think there's past this with the game. Like, we had a good viewing of decks played, right? I think it's all right? But let's talk to the you know, what is. Have you heard of Umbra before, or have you heard of this? You know, have you heard of Exia, or have you heard of Luxem? You know, like
I heard there's a Guardian coming that soon. That's Umbra. So
yeah, well, but you know what I mean. Maybe next set, right?
Nail that copium, just
yeah.
Surely next set will be good.
Yeah, like
next set Astra Diana will be good.
Remember that Terra Kongming that came out? Like, what's going on there, guys? Like, yeah, like that disappoints me that we're not. Yeah, I don't know how. This is where I don't know how you fix it. Where I think because the negate meta is so strong, or it's because the negate meta is so strong. Like, Diana can't come onto the field because there's too many things that just stop her from doing what she wants to do. You know what I mean? There's too many things that stop. There are too many things that stop people from doing what they want to do, and therefore they can't play that deck. They can't play Exia, you know, on Jin because they just like breastplate and see you later, or negate that whole. You're gonna use 15 cards and 12 turns to make this attack. Yeah, well, I only need one card called Song of Frost. So I'm just gonna wait. However long you want to build this thing, but I'm just gonna throw Song of Frost down. You know what I mean? I don't need these combinations of things, right? I think that's where I think this game's getting kind of hard to, you know, cast or play, or we don't get to see that because of the negate scene.
Yeah, definitely the amount of interaction that the game has received recently is extremely high. Like, we're dealing with Burst Asunder. Oh no, sorry, Glimmering Refusal, and then we had Incap when that was introduced.
Yep.
Yeah, and then just
there's dismissal for the water one.
Yeah.
You've got Cerulean Decree. You've got what else? You've got. I mean, you've got all the Astral Seals, but I'm okay with like Astral Seals when they're like a level 3 build up negate, right? When they're so like level 1, I only need one card, and here I can negate Frostbind. You've got Tidal Lock. You've got, you know, water is so many, right? And like wind, like
their entire deck is like things in response to your stuff.
Yeah, even like Stifling Trap is like Stifling Trap was like 1 for wind, and they're like yes, but they just killed like again. Diana was like, man, I have to level up without getting stifling. I then have to like avoid my gun getting destroyed. Like that really slowed down the game, and that kind of like disappointing. And maybe like these are why we're not seeing. Like, I mean, we're seeing the fire aggro kind of stuff. We're seeing the Dao Chan, you know, and a lot of the Goja. So if you're looking at like Seiru, that was a lot of like speed leveling with Beseech, right? The Beseech Fade Stone and the Beseech the Winds, right? To get your dragon out. That's what are you doing, right? You would probably, I would say, if there wasn't so much negates, we would see more fire Seiru. But because they're trying to level up, you have to do it with wind. And it's like, well, I would kind of want to do that with like Jin, I guess. Maybe there's a wind Jin deck where I'm going to use Beseech, the winds, but because it's a Fate Stone and whatever. But that's probably that next way to try and level up. The safer place is to do it in wind because fire feels so negated.
Honestly, yeah. And I think the other thing with the Seru deck is you have 12 cards that can materialize your level up. Like you can cheat your level with Beseeching Fatestone, Beseech the Winds, and Dungeon Guide.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just the play.
Yeah.
Like instead, yeah, there are so many negates, but it doesn't matter if you have 12 copies of cards to level up. So maybe it's the way.
Yeah.
I'm just put more, make your deck faster.
Yeah, exactly.
They found a
Exactly.
way. Yeah.
They found a way.
Maybe there is a way to do it. Just go faster.
Maybe look at some sideboards are interesting. On the Viridian Protective Trinket, crazy amount came through. Of course, Scatter Essence. I think what's I like personal play. You can comment to this. I think Scatter Essence is like a bit bait. I feel like if you're like, I'm gonna beat Fractal with Scatter Essence, you're not gonna beat Fractal with Scatter. You know what I mean? Like, I think it works really well with Seiru because you're gonna level up. But if you're playing a Wind deck like Wind Allies, what is that floating memory for? Because you're really not gonna use it because you're not leveling up, you're staying at wind. And I'm telling you, break one of their 5 fractals and you're going to waste 2 cards on it. Like, I don't think that's enough to dent these fractal game. I do not think it's worth. And that's probably why, wind doesn't. I feel like it's very niche of maybe, Xander Luxem, I guess, could benefit because you're going to definitely. You have to play a wind that's going to level up to really benefit from this card. I don't think it's enough just to destroy one fractal. I think fractal don't care. You pay for that. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like fractals, there's so many of them. Sometimes they pump out like 8, 9 on like, and it's been yeah. You break one, it doesn't mean anything to them.
Yep.
Definitely, yeah, I definitely agree with you. So that's why like I think we've seen the rise of a lot of decks like Fire Aggro and Wind Allies, where they just gave up on breaking the fractals and interacting with it. They just decided, all right, I'm just gonna kill you before you can play the game.
Yeah.
It like don't even bother breaking these fractals. I think yeah, that just shows the power of the fractal deck where even the cards that are supposed to answer them just aren't answering them.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
I think Blanche is really cool. Some good stuff with Blanche comes in. That was an interesting sideboard. Staggering Strike, I think, is super interesting to see more coming out. I know removing prep counters, that's just for Xander, I guess, or maybe for Tristan counters, maybe because there was 12 representatives for that. But again, an interesting card to side in. I think it's maybe seeing more representation than normal. I mean, that was an A and B card, right? Like, but I think we're seeing it more than we have in any other season.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. It's been around since AMB, but Tristan wasn't super popular in AMB. Now that it's popular because it deals with fractals pretty well. You can play Scatter Essence, as we mentioned before. Staggering Strike has now come in to deal with that. It's interesting to see that like the meta's shifted, where this card Staggering Strike has been in the game for a long time, but now that Tristan's popular, Staggering Strike is finally starting to see play more often.
So I think a good chat here, right? If we're gonna end this, little glimpse into OC Nats and glimpse into like what is a player in a casa. We've got a few weeks to Worlds, right? There's still events running. What are we playing? Like, what do you think you should be looking at this and go, what am I playing for my locals? What am I playing for my regionals? What am I playing coming up?
Right. So the short answer is if you've got no events left to play, like a lot of us in OCE, and the ones that didn't make odds, I would just say play whatever you want for fun because we finally have an off season. But that being said, if you're going to competitive events, my short answer is just play Fractals. It's all good. Sell your soul. Play Fractals.
Yeah, and I'm hoping was it Min who made the gauntlet for it was Min, right? No, it wasn't. Min. Yeah, it was Min. Yeah,
who made it.
He's playing Fractals, and hopefully we're going to beat him out to him. I hope that with the training boys are just training him Fractal, and if he's playing something else, I'll be disappointed. But I think Fractal is the way to go. I think if you're a strong Astra player, I think you have a good chance of placing with the Windari. I think it had a good. I think it's a very hard deck, but if you really understand and you put a lot of time into it, I think it's a high reward. I think there's a lot of stuff that catches players off. Cosmic Bolt's really strong. You can high roll really well. People aren't playing for your fertile grounds and have the gathering herbs is actually super powerful. The ability to draw and a lot of interaction with, I think, is good. But yeah, I think Fractals is what you play, and then you might shift into the Seiru. But I think Seiru is. I wouldn't recommend that deck to any new player. Like you have to be playing GA for at least a year or a bit before you tackle that deck. Like it's wild.
Yeah, I think it's actually a bit weird. Seiryu is a deck where at a base level it's not too hard to play, but then so I would say it has a low skill ceiling because you can just turbo level and like get to Seiryu and just play that every game. But it also has a decent what am I saying? It has a low skill floor, but
Yeah,
also its skill ceiling is higher than people think.
yeah,
So yeah, I think while it's an easy deck to pick up, but also to play it well, its ceiling is not as low as people think it is. It's relatively high.
yeah. All right. Well, I think I've got to take back. I said that I put B tier for Seiru, and I think it's definitely performing as an A tier deck. I think
Yep.
I think the top is of course Fractals. I think Fire Aggro maybe drops down. I think we saw a lot of it. I think there's a lot of catch, but I think they haven't really like watching. I don't know if there was because I'd love to see how many Fractals versus Clarent swords and like dominated, like because it was such a scene of wind. I feel like Clarent was just useless for these wind decks as much, maybe, and then didn't get that performance to come through, or they got caught out a bit, with so many fires not making through. So I think fire goes just down if you're in a competitive scene. It might work at your locals and it's a bit of fun, but it's definitely played around. And then yeah, I think there's some other decks that's still been playable, but I really want to see more Diana. I want to see, bring Rye back. What is that character? Like what champions are out there?
Yep. At this point, I think we just pray for next set. I think the meta it looks pretty I don't think there's gonna be any new decks that show up out of the blue. So
Yeah.
we just pray that the next set of Dino will be good.
All
But
right.
anyhow,
We're praying.
yeah,
Greater
for the
Sharks
next
for
set.
praying.
Yep.
All right, I'll put
This
that
is
in the
my
title.
secret hope. Dinah is my favorite champion, so I'm just hoping the new cards make her good. It's sad to see that they had to literally scrap the entire lineage to give her a chance. Because now we're going with Astra Diana. She might as well just be like a mage at this point or a cleric.
Yeah.
But yeah, somehow they're gonna make Astra Ranger work. I hope it's interesting. Should be
Yeah,
good.
I'm really
But
praying.
yeah,
So, all right. Well, I
all right,
appreciate you
Justin.
chatting with me, Justin, and thanks for coming on. I'm hoping to do some more videos more weekly with the chat. So, chat, check us out. Like, subscribe. If you got any topics you want us to cover, I might throw down next week if Justin's free. We'll do a match where we'll do Water Fractal versus Seiru, or we'll try and just cook Water Allies. Maybe we'll just be a Water Allies channel. Oh, sorry, Wind Allies channel, and we'll
Wind
just make
Allies channel.
We'll just make like I've been making this robot deck. Oh boy, I love bringing out the Mac too, and you like discard a robot. Bring it. Oh my, you get him on the field,
Oh yeah.
and you don't verse a fractal deck or anyone who can use spells. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I reckon I'll give my Wind Ally Diana a shot because that's
Hell
kind of been
yeah.
on the table for a while. But we'd love to just pick it up, wipe off all that dust.
Yeah,
Now that
exactly.
There's no major OCE events left.
True,
Of course, we're
true.
not going to Worlds.
If
So,
you want to play for fun,
yeah.
come hang out in
Yeah,
Creative Shock.
finally, time for fun.
Yeah, try to find fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you,
Finally got myself
Justin.
locked in.
Guys, I've been Mr. Reed. That's been Justin. We're Creative Shock, and we will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys.